Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! I have forever and always wanted to hold a special place in all of your hearts, and I like to believe that I've been able to do that through the power of this YouTube channel. YouTube has given me the honor of being the voice of Descendants and Zombies for what feels like an eternity. And I am so honored to be in your presence to be able to create all these wonderful videos for each and every one of you and sharing my own experiences of my lifetime that remind me of Descendants and all the memories we cherish for Descendants for the better part of a decade. I know for certain that this is a decade that I will never ever forget and I will cherish forever and hold close to my heart for ever and always, really. I want to say thank you to every girl who ever hit my subscribe button and took a chance on me and saw the good in me when nobody else ever seemed to be able to. Because for every girl who saw the good in me and took a chance on me when they did, this YouTube channel saw 3,000 subscribers surpassed today. Thank you so much from my heart to yours as the sun is officially set on all of our lives tonight. I want to say thank you as I send a heartfelt thank you out to everybody who supported this YouTube channel. When I never ever thought that I would see 100 subscribers put up on this YouTube channel, I now have 3,000, and I'm etching ever closer to becoming the most popular Descendants and Zombies YouTube channel in the entire universe. Perhaps maybe not the universe, but the entire galaxy. How this all started was 10 years ago. I just started talking about Dove Cameron. Dove Cameron became one of my favorite celebrity crushes, and she still is one of my all-time favorites, although that has transferred now from Dove Cameron to Kylie Cantrell and Ruby Rose Turner, whom I can't seem to live without, because she showed me without a shadow of a doubt that no matter how much darkness you encounter, you will always find your light, and you will always find your way out of that darkness, no matter how much darkness we encounter. And you guys really helped me out of a lot of situations in my life. Like when I would be out on dates and someone would notify me with a like or a subscription request. Thank you so much for just always being here for me in some of the most silly, some of the most unforgettable situations that I've ever been in my life. You know, I've looked at girlfriends that I've had relationships with, and I said to her in just conversation, just trying to get to know her, you know, thousands of girls think I'm the voice of Descendants and Zombies. And she says, really? I said, yeah, they see the good in me before anyone who I've ever dated ever saw the good in me. They always listen to me. They always support me. They are incredibly supportive. And they will love you unconditionally, which I found that a lot of girls that I was dating at the time, whoever I was dating, could never understand. I love this show so much because I can sit on this show every morning of my life and every night before I shut my eyes, and I can tell you guys how I feel about Descendants and Zombies and how much it truly means to me. I remember a time when I went to my high school prom without a date, and that really broke my heart because Ruby's prom queen graphics that are on Google all the time popping up remind me of that. And her portrayal of the young Queen of Hearts was so fabulous in the Rise of Red franchise. I wish that Ruby could have been my prom date 20 years ago. It's hard to believe that my high school prom happened 20 years ago, and that would have been that fateful night that I back body dropped somebody into the fountain because things weren't really going my way that night. I had no date. I was feeling really down on my luck. All I ever wanted was for my podcast to finally be discovered and for my voice to be heard. And it took me nearly 26 years for my voice to finally be heard and to be appreciated by a niche that I never ever thought possible or I ever thought would exist. I say this because if I were to have gone to a fortune teller 20 years ago and been in possession of a pocket watch and had one wish that could have been granted, if I had possession of a magic lamp or a pocket watch, and that fortune teller would have told me that I would be talking about Descendants and Zombies 20 years from now in the future, and you girls would have solidified my legacy to secure the fact that I will go down in history for having been one of the greatest of all time to ever talk about Descendants and Zombies. I don't know if I'd ever would have believed the fortune teller, and I've been to many fortune tellers. I guess just because I liked getting a glimpse into my future to see what it had in store. But I know now that I will go down in history for being one of the greatest of all time to ever do it. For telling you stories about Descendants and Zombies that means so much to me. For talking about people like Ruby Rose Turner, who became one of my biggest crushes ever, because she was just so genuinely kind. There isn't a night of my life that I don't wish Ruby was here to help me make sense of life. I know I say this all the time. For those of you who are new here, hi, my name is Jonathan, and I have the biggest crush in the world on Ruby Rose Turner because she is genuinely kind. If I had to pick one genuine reason, why I have the biggest crush in the world on her. It's because she's so genuinely kind, and she just incredibly supports everybody, and she's always there for everybody. Even though it doesn't seem like Ruby is really socially active on social media, she's there for everybody. So too was Dove Cameron years ago, but I think Dove Cameron more recently has been focusing on her career more and putting herself out there for how she wants to be portrayed, and really closing the book on being socially active with her fans. Because I remember years ago, you could go to Dove Cameron about anything, and within minutes, she would tweet you back on Twitter at the time. Now she doesn't seem to be too concerned with that. So it seems like to become Kylie Control's responsibility and that of Ruby Rose Turner, which I really appreciate about them. And I really appreciate their friendship. I can't seem to get enough of the friendships of Kylie Control, Mila Baker, and Ruby Rose Turner. Kylie and Ruby have been friends ever since they were 9 years old, when they used to dream about being a part of franchises such as Descendants and High School Musical. And Kylie Control had the opportunity to do that when she was very young. It was truly unbelievable how everything just happened for Kylie Control seemingly overnight after having the torch passed to her from Dove Cameron. She's done a fabulous job with that. But it really hurts me when I see Kylie Control crying. It really bothered me. So I thought to myself, what can I do, being an IT tech and being a YouTuber all of my life? What can I create that would be special for everybody? My original YouTube show wasn't really going anywhere. I was talking about professional wrestling, covering some professional wrestling match or some professional wrestling show that really never made sense to a whole lot of people. And then people started emailing me about the relationship between Dove Cameron and Ryan McCartan, and eventually Dove Cameron and Thomas Doherty. And then eventually Kylie Control and her ex-man, who I drew the conclusion was ultimately crazy, because he had like one poster on his bedroom wall and like one mattress on the floor, and Kylie Control's friend didn't fare any better. Oh my. Every night I seem to be suffering from a zombie infection. I do apologize for that. I've had blood work done. Nothing ever comes back in the blood work. There's no vampire blood in my system. No signs of a zombie infection. But yeah, the way Dove Cameron was being treated in her relationship was ridiculous, and Kylie Control's relationship was absolutely horrible. I read all these reviews of Kylie Control and her ex-man's relationship and how he couldn't see the good in Kylie Control when perhaps he should have, because if he would have been able to see how good Kylie Control was as a person and how beautiful of a soul existed inside of her, I think he would still be with her. I know it's really hard to find a genuine guy. If I can speak to every girl out there for a moment, it is very difficult to find a genuine guy in this world. And if you find one who exists, he is someone that you have to keep for forever. I know it is very difficult to find one and to make sense of your own life, because there are a lot of challenges being a girl. It's always a constant struggle being a girl in this lifetime. And I want you to know that my heart goes out to each and every one of you, because guys just can't make sense of how beautiful you are and how you want to prioritize your girlfriends over perhaps your own relationship or sometimes even your own life. I just got done reading a very emotional article that one of my very good friends had posted about her best friend and their friendship, because today was her birthday. And it meant so much to me reading the connection that they shared so much that I almost felt like I was going to cry. But that just goes to show how important a friendship is between two people in this world, and how nothing ever comes between two people in this world. And if you can have that kind of a relationship with somebody, that is something that you really have to hold close, because that is of extreme rarity in this world. And I think that any girl that has a bond, an unbreakable bond with another girl, I have so much respect for you for being able to hold on to that bond for forever. Today was her birthday, and her best friend posted this emotional tribute to her for having always been there for her. And my heart goes out to them, really, because they're so young and they're still trying to figure out their own life. And oh man, you girls give this world so much light and so much meaning. It is truly unbelievable. So I think that, you know, when I read columns about how Kylie Control is being, being held down, I'll say, from all this criticism, I think it's completely unnecessary. I think it's just a lot of people dealing with their own insecurities. Like, I see a lot of these videos on YouTube where people are reviewing Descendants, and they do these reaction videos of the movie or a music video or whatever, and they're shoving a chili dog halfway down their throat or drinking a 2-liter bottle of Gatorade, and it really makes no sense. If you're going to review the movie, or at least tell stories about your life that tie into Descendants of Zombies. So Zombies was just as beautiful of a movie too, because it represented second chances, it represented love, it represented passion, and passion unlike I'd ever seen before in my life, because of the relationship between Zed and Addison and Malachi Burton's character Nova, Victor and Nova. Beautiful, beautiful representation of just how far love can really go in this lifetime. And I think that when a lot of people saw Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires, they saw themselves in perhaps a relationship they were currently in, or a relationship they wish to have. And I think ultimately what a lot of people ran away from watching Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires was, there is a chance that I can find my true love. No matter if I see him or her in my dreams, no matter if it's so unreachable or so far away, eventually that can happen for me. And I hope they keep that same kind of flow going with Zombies 5 by the time we see it. The release window is suggesting that Zombies 5 won't come until 2027. But I'm really excited to see how that happens. And no, I've never really had a emotional tribute posted about me for a friend's birthday or anything on social media. All I've ever had are you guys. You know, I've been doing this for a really long time, ever since I was 13 years old. I did this when I was in high school. I wrote columns for different websites all of my life. I hosted radio shows and YouTube videos for what feels like an eternity, and I've never had this much support in my life for anything I've ever talked about. So after I moved into this home, after I found a house near a soda plantation and a chemical plant, what I made the decision to do was create a YouTube channel based off the popularity of Descendants of Zombies. I didn't know if I was going to become the most popular Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel in the world, but I wanted to become a YouTube channel that a lot of people could rely on for inspirational messages of hope, love, accomplishment, everything all in the one, while I talked about Descendants of Zombies, because that's what the movies ultimately represented, were second chances, a rebirth, an understanding of the mistakes that you may have made in your life, regardless of what the mistakes were, and how you shouldn't be judged for who you are and the mistakes you've made, because I will admit to each and every one of you, I'm far from perfect. I've had a very difficult life, and when I could never make sense of my own life, and being far from perfect, I had each and every one of you who were incredibly supportive of everything I talked about, everything that I believed in, which is more than I could have ever asked for. And that's why I want you guys to know that I love you forever and always. I will always be here on this YouTube channel. This YouTube channel will always be here for you to help you make sense of Descendants and Zombies when others can't help you make sense of Descendants and Zombies. Because I honestly don't think that people who are uploading videos on YouTube know the first thing about a daywalker and a nightwalker and can differentiate what a vampire is and what a daywalker is. Vampires obviously are creatures who can walk in the nighttime, and daywalkers who can exist in both daylight and nighttime under certain circumstances. Any fool knows that. I don't know why they play it out as if they're so oblivious to what a daywalker and a nightwalker is. When I first heard of that concept, I thought it was so cool, and I thought Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires was not only going to pass the torch from Milo Manheim and Meg Donnelly to Freya Skye and Malachi Burton's characters Victor and Nova, who are adorable together, I can't forget to mention that, but it also really put it out there for just being a movie that was so full of excitement, and everybody was so excited about, Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires, what was coming next. What kind of creatures were we going to face from the supernatural? And there have been a lot of suggestions, from mermaids to witches to even pirates, which I would go for. I was a really big fan of Pirates of the Caribbean. I thought it was such a cool movie series. So, to bring kind of a Jack Sparrow kind of vibe into this, with characters that could possibly remind you of Johnny Depp's character portrayal of Jack Sparrow, I'm all for it. We could see sharks, and I could finally realize my dream of going down 40 feet under the sea and blowing the bejesus out of a shark. There is, and that can only happen if you hit the subscribe button. I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for just being here. Everything that I've went through in my life, all the shows that I've ever been a part of, most of the shows that I hosted were in the position of being a co-host. So I couldn't host the show with an open heart and an open mind. I guess you could say this was the first show that I had the opportunity to host with an open heart and an open mind. And I know that a lot of people feel like this show is really engaging, it is really intriguing, and a lot of you do watch these videos, believe it or not, from beginning to end. Some people who don't have really high attention spans can't watch these videos from beginning to end. happened. And I want to say I'm sorry for how long the videos are. I know my videos run anywhere from 25 minutes to a half an hour, but a commentary is a half hour. I just can't come on here and just talk about Descendants and Zombies for 5 minutes and upload a video like many people do, because that doesn't offer you intriguing content. If anything, you won't feel inspired if I upload a 5-minute video and just say, hey, okay, you know, how cool would the video be if I just came on here and said, okay, Zombies 5, Dawn of the Vampires in 2027. I don't know the date, but as soon as I find out, I'll upload a video and tell you. And then, like 5 days after I find out what the date is, or Disney releases a teaser, I come on with another 5-minute video. Okay, Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires, May 5th, 2027. See you guys. You know, what do you get out of that? Nothing. And most of the videos that are suggesting release windows for Descendants 5, Wicked Wonderland, and Zombies 5, whatever the title is going to be, I think they're going to have a really cool title for Zombies 5, especially with mermaids and pirates and witches possibly seeing their introduction into the movie. I'd go for all three. I think what you got to do is you got to create a video and speak from your heart, and that doesn't include pre-writing a statement. I never ever thought that was a very effective way of putting yourself out there, by pre-writing anything and preparing what you were going to say, preparing your content. I know a lot of people feel that's a very effective way of doing it. I have never done it. In the 30 years that I've been alive, I have never, close to 40, I have never ever pre-written anything. I've just spoken from my heart because I felt that was a very effective way to establish a friendship between yourself and your audience, so your audience could become introduced to your host, who was going to be providing you with the content, and you could feel comfortable around your host knowing that he was going to say nothing but good things about your favorite Descendants and Zombie stars, which I have desperately tried to do and convey. I love you guys so much. I love hearing your stories about why you are a Zombies and Descendants fan. I love hearing your stories of why you're really good friends with a person that you've held close and dear to your heart for forever. And that's coming from a guy who never really had a whole lot of friends or had a whole lot of support. I had 4 or 5 really good friends, but my mom always told me, her best piece of advice that she ever gave me was that you don't need a whole lot of good friends in this life. All you have to have are really few good ones, just a few good friends, and you will, you will achieve more out of life than you would if you would have had, say, 50 or 100 really good friends, supposedly, because nobody out there, I don't believe that anybody out there has 100 really good friends. You have 3 or 4 really good friends that you're close with, that you can tell anything to, and you will aspire for great things in life, and good things will come your way. Nobody out there is the heights of popular to the point where nobody ever notices you, or nobody can ever take into consideration how you may be feeling. I think that when somebody never notices you, I think it's a selection in your mind to do that. I think it's because they're either dealing with something of insecurity, they have insecurity issues, or they're just choosing to not notice you. I think it's not something somebody does. I don't think it's something that someone does unintentionally. I think it's something that somebody does intentionally, and they know they're doing it. I've never ever believed that someone has unintentionally never noticed somebody. And that really breaks my heart. So why I wanted to create this YouTube channel was so that each and every one of you would feel noticed and you would not feel ignored. Now, I know sometimes my comments become very overwhelming and I can't respond to every comment. But I want you guys to know I do read every single comment, and I do hear your opinions on Descendants and Zombies, and I do take them into consideration. Because I think the greatest insult is always feeling ignored. And no child or no fan of Descendants and Zombies deserves to feel ignored or disrespected about their opinion about Descendants and Zombies. I don't care if your opinion is that we will see unicorns by the time we get to Zombies 5, because I think it would be really cool if we saw unicorns. I think it would be really cool if Red and Chloe did hit it off by the time we got to Descendants 5, Wicked Wonderland. I really do. It would be really cool if Ruby found her way back into Descendants as the character Bridget, and had some logical explanation behind why she was left back in the past and had to return to the present-day Wonderland. There's so much of a potentiality that goes with creating Descendants. And I think we still have a long way to go with this. But I think the way people are creating videos about Descendants and Zombies are really out there. And what I mean by really out there is when you don't notice your audience. When you don't engage with your audience in a way that is professional. In a way that people will feel as if the host of the show appreciates their audience. Because I think it is really critical to have a relationship between the host of the show and the audience. And the host to understand what the audience wants to get the most out of the experience of watching the video. Because I think a lot of people don't prioritize their audience and don't really think a whole lot of the audience's opinion and don't even read down through the comments, really. Because most of the videos, I'll tell you why this happens. It happens because most of the people don't even read down through their comments. I remember the very first comment that was put up here on this YouTube channel within the first one or two videos. It was a young girl. She said, "I hope everybody loves your videos and will subscribe to your channel." And a year and a half later, she got her wish. I don't know where she is out there in the world tonight, but she was one of the very first people who ever supported any of my videos. And to this day, I still remember her, and I want her to know that she did get her wish. And this channel will forever and always live eternally in all of our hearts because it was a passion. It was created because of a passion that brought us all together. And I'll be honest with each and every one of you. When I don't have the opportunity to create these fabulous videos for you, I miss you with a heart and a half. If I could give you 2 hearts, I would give you 2 hearts. But I'll say that I miss you with a heart and a half. Because when I couldn't make sense of my own life and didn't know if I was coming or going, I had each and every one of you to help me make sense of my own life, to get me out of predicaments and situations that I could never find a way out of, and you ultimately became my light out of darkness every single time. So if you are credited for anything after this show becomes the most popular Descendants and Zombies YouTube channel on YouTube, which is not very far off, I want you to know that this happened because of each and every one of you. This not only happened because we all shared in a passion and became friends because we shared in the same passion. This happened just because of each and every one of you, and some little girl believed in me ever before anyone who was my own age ever did. It is truly unbelievable that I have the opportunity to sit in front of a camera every day of my life, a very expensive camera, mind you, that I didn't mind investing in because this is really a hit or miss with this channel. It is truly an honor of mine to be able to sit in front of this podcast microphone every night and talk about what you love. Even if it is not Descendants or Zombies, it could be Phineas and Ferb or Tangled. Whatever it is such an honor to be able to sit in front of this podcast microphone and talk to you about stuff that you love so much. Did I think years ago there was going to be a Phineas and Ferb reboot? Sure I did. Did I think years ago we would get to a point where we'd have the 6 Descendants movies being produced and considered? Sure I did. Did I ever think Descendants and Zombies would share the same stage for the Worlds Collide Tour? You better believe I did. And I was the only host that ever gave anybody a certain amount of hope that they could really run away with. While every other host on YouTube just said, okay, there's a chance maybe it could happen, and they never really gave you so much detail about it. You know, you got to make your audience feel appreciated, and that is one very unique quality that separates these videos, and I always have separated these videos from everybody else on YouTube who has uploaded videos after dark. And I upload videos every night after dark because I love creating videos for you. Honestly, there is no place in the world I would rather be than having the honor of sitting behind this podcast microphone and telling you about some of my friends and their experiences. Like I just mentioned, how a girl that I know, her birthday was today, and her friend sent her this emotional tribute, and I was really reduced to tears because I know them both, and I know how much they think of each other and how much they support each other. And as a boyfriend to a lot of girls over the years, not necessarily this couple, but certain couples I have seen who are really good friends, I've always tried to support and understand their relationship because I never ever wanted to come between that or take that away from them. I think a girl's relationship with another girl, friends for forever, is so beautiful. And that's why I will forever and always support Kylie Cantrell and Ruby Rose Turner's friendship, why I will forever always support the friendship between Kylie Cantrell and Mila Baker and all 3 of them. And if you want to hear something nice about Descendants and Zombies, well, I think for most certain you should subscribe to this YouTube channel because you won't get reviews or hear reviews like this anywhere else on YouTube. Because I know that there are thousands of videos uploaded every night to the platform about Descendants and Zombies. But they won't go down in history for being the greatest Descendants and Zombies YouTube channel to ever talk about Dove Cameron, Liv and Maddie, Descendants, Zombies, Meg Donnelly, Kylie Cantrell, Mila Baker, Ruby Rose Turner, like this one will. This didn't happen because I chose to upload a bunch of Descendants and Zombies videos. This simply happened because each and every one of you made me a celebrity and famous overnight. And I haven't looked back since, nor have I regretted it. Tomorrow morning, I've got a lot more to say about Descendants and Zombies and where it goes, and I hope you will join me for it. This is the final video for this evening, but that does not mean that this is the end. This is only just the beginning of a true story that we are all going to be a part of. We are a part of history in the making, and it's the song in Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires, has always suggested and put out there so proudly. We are legends in the making. I was always destined to go down in history as one of the greatest legends who ever lived. And I know now for certain, because of each and every one of you having made that a reality with over 3,000 subscribers surpassed today, that will happen for me. And I want you to know, from my heart to yours, I am forever grateful for each and every one of your love and support. Because Descendants and Zombies is and always and forever will be the strongest force in the world. You made every dream that I ever wanted to accomplish and see come true and happen for me. This happened because of each and every one of you. And if there's one thing I want you to always remember and never forget, is that you will find your light. Having said that, be kind to one another. Always and forever know that you will find your light. We will talk again tomorrow morning bright and early. Be kind to one another because life is sweeter when all of you are. And never and always forget that life is a beautiful experience for all of us, and you will find your light. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you all so much. We will talk again in the morning. Stay safe, everybody. Be kind to one another.